What's up guys, welcome to Supercars of London and welcome back to the Atomic Teal Audi R8 RWS Spider. Now today, in this video, we're going to put this, the cheaper variant of the V10, up against the V10 Plus, which is the more expensive variant of the V10 Plus. And seeing as I've had both of these cars and driven them back to back, the Spider and the Coupe, I feel like I'm in a pretty good position to test out which one is better. And already, I've got a feeling, because the weather is as good as it is, that it's going to be this car. But first, let's jump in the V10 Plus to see how that handles with more power. Technically, that should be more exhilarating. So let's jump in the V10 Plus and then get ourselves down to the Spider. Here we have ceramic brakes, we've got a whole bunch of exterior carbon that comes as standard, we've got some funky headlights that are as standard, and then we've also got the carbon wing. This car has got the sports exhaust, the B&O, and a few other fancy bits and pieces. I haven't got the exact spec sheet of this car, but I'm going to guess that it's around 145 to 150,000 pounds. If you were to start looking at the used car market, you would see that the RWSs that are for sale are tinkering around 100 to 110, and this particular example would probably get around 125 to 130,000 pounds. So it's definitely a lot more expensive, and arguably you get a lot more kit for your money, but it's actually the driving experience that is the problem with the V10 Plus versus the RWS Spider. And this is all subjective, objective, never know quite where to use those two words, but it is all my own opinion from driving both of the cars. And of course, the rear wheel drive strikes a chord in my heart, but so does R8s in general, because I started my supercar journey with the Audi R8 4.2 Quattro R8. Right now I'm cruising in comfort mode. It sounds like a Prius, it's getting fairly decent MPG, and I can cruise around with the light steering through town. I can throw it around, the suspension is soft, it's supple, it's very, very easy to drive. I've got loads of space, I've got a much bigger boot than the Lamborghini Huracan, and everything is very civilized. And then when I want to, I can put it in performance mode. Everything opens up, becomes a lot stiffer, more reactive, my throttle response is a little bit better. But of course the valves open and it becomes a lot louder. The gearbox actually starts to shunt you and becomes a lot more aggressive as you go down through the gears. And it's quick. 610 PS versus 540 PS in the RWS is a big difference. It's relentless. The power never stops, the torque never stops, because the double clutch gearbox in this car is by far one of the greatest gearboxes in any car. You just bang through the gears and you're smack bang in the rev range, ready to pull again. There is no let off whatsoever. It is an absolute dream to drive, and everything is so smooth. But where it falls short in comparison to the RWS Spider, because that's what we're comparing, the Coupe four-wheel drive Quattro versus the RWS Spider, is no matter how hard you drive this car and how fast you drive this car, because you're cocooned in this shell where the sound dampening is so good, the ceramics are sharp, and the Quattro just puts all of the power down immediately, you kind of feel a little bit disconnected from the actual driving experience and the emotions that you're supposed to feel from driving fast in a supercar. You're supposed to feel connected to the car, feeling all of the bumps in the road. You're supposed to hold on for dear life in some instances. And in this car, the Quattro, the power and the sound dampening kind of soften everything out, numb it down a little bit, and you kind of lose the sense of occasion of driving it. Audi have built such a smooth car, but also has an incredibly large safety net. I'm currently driving with traction in sport mode, so there should be a little bit of slip, but there's absolutely none of it, and I know I can downshift and floor it and be in complete control of the car with only one hand on the steering wheel. It's too easy to drive. Here we are in the Spider as my temperature reading is 31 degrees. Now, I was fairly open a few years ago saying that I didn't understand convertibles because in the UK we don't really get nice weather or nice enough weather to have the roof down and be more connected to the car and the road by being exposed to the elements. However, this has been timed perfectly because I'm now cruising around in the RWS Spider, which is the cheaper version to the R8 V10 Plus. Plain and simple, the V10 Plus and the V10 RWS, or just the 540 PS V10, are exactly the same car if you were to drive them around in auto or comfort. They're smooth, the steering is light, they're quiet, they're very, very easy to daily drive. They are the same platform, they are fundamentally the same car, but it's when the power, the brakes, and that sense of feeling and occasion that you get when you drive the car, that's when things start to come alive in this. This doesn't have a performance mode, this doesn't have an exhaust button to be able to flick the exhausts on. What we do have is just the standard drive select. Dynamic is the mode that you need if you want the valves to be open and you want the car to be as close to a supercar as possible. The suspension stiffens up, the steering becomes heavier, the exhaust becomes louder, but the two advantages that this car has as opposed to the V10 Plus Coupe is the roof is down, meaning that the exhausts feel so much closer and are so much louder with the roof down. Even with the roof up, I've got this window that I can take down and feel like the roof is down. But also, it is rear wheel drive, meaning if it bites you, it will kill you. It's a short wheelbase and all of the weight is over the rear wheels, meaning that there is a time frame of about that, the window, that if the car starts to go, that you can catch it and actually put it into a slide. So you have to respect this beast so much more because it has the potential to kill you. And that is why I love this and why I believe that it is better than the V10 Plus. The safety net is taken away. There is no safety net in this car. It is just an absolute hoot. And the pops and bangs are so much better. Oh. When the engine is warm, oh my god, do the pops and bangs sound good. You feel like you are right next to the exhaust system. Woo-hoo-hoo! You feel like you are constantly in a tunnel. The sound is emphasized. Everything, your senses are heightened around the entire car. Everything feels much closer to you. The emotions that you get of being attached to the car. The steering is so much more responsive in the rear wheel drive as it is in the Quattro, meaning you get a much better feel through the corners. You feel more alive in this car as opposed to the V10 Plus. But this video is fundamentally down to why this car is better in my eyes than the more expensive one. Listen to this. Exposed to the elements, exposed to the exhaust noise, and exposed to potential death. That is why I love the R8 RWS Spider more than any other Audi R8 product line. And I've driven them all now, and this is the best. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and a little bit of an insight and comparison into two of the Audi R8 products that are both incredible cars and so good value for money, especially in the used car market. But having the opportunity of driving them both back to back and seeing the pros and the cons, hopefully I've touched a little bit on what is missing in the V10 Plus, because it is something that people have struggled to try and put their finger on. In the same way with the McLaren 720S, people are struggling to put their finger on why it's losing a little bit of emotion or why it lacks emotion. Maybe we're getting onto something, that the connection isn't there because of the safety net and because of the technology. Who knows? I will see you soon, guys. Take care, enjoy the summer and enjoy this weather, and I'll see you soon, guys. Goodbye.